this game is going to get reviewed by somebody else as well, right?
Yeah, tomorrow somebody's gonna review it. I don't know if it's gonna be like Colossus or
John or Byron.
Dwyron. Yeah, then we got Michael Federa or Jeremiah. Yeah. Those are the four main teachers I'm used to. But yeah, I'll get reviewed tomorrow, which will be cool. So I was trying to kind of stick to the points levers, Fuseki. The idea is you kind of just try and grab three corners and then, break up white. But this extension looked too juicy for me, um,
Okay.
because it's coming from off my wall, right? And also, I feel like it's preventing him from making a double wing, right?
Right.
So I think this was one move that I was like, I know it's good, but I'm just curious if you would have played anything else like different.
Yeah, I think it's stylistically. Like you could do 3-3 in the bottom right. You could do 0-3 in the bottom right. You could do C14 was fine. C17 was fine.
Hmm.
I think anything in the opening at this point, like this, can be pretty much good. It just comes down to what's your plan for
Okay.
going into the middle game. How are you trying to steer the position?
I felt like this was a mistake. I don't know if the computer or anybody else agrees with me, but I just felt like this didn't feel like a good connection to me.
There's a lot of space for share on the top, but A is normal.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's particularly bad. Marginally small difference between it and F17.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I don't know. Like, I guess obviously it's not the Kobayashi, right? The stone isn't high, but for me, I feel like a pincer would be more of my style, or maybe even a attach on
Mm,
top. But if you attach on top, black gets too strong here, right? And so,
yeah, and you're low on the top side. Pincer could be playable. You could switch and take territory on the left if black goes into Sansan.
yeah, that's what I was
So I
thinking.
think would be a natural move.
Yeah, I think this. I don't know. To me, I thought it would be better than this one. I thought this one was wrong, but if it's
They're,
fine, it's fine.
I think they're comparable. From here, the question is: are you going to go for the corner? Or are you going to play for the left side?
Yeah. So, although of course I've seen this modern, computer joseki where they peep here, right? Like back in the day, you think really back in the day, you'd do something like this, or
Yeah, I
maybe
think
something
you
like
would
this.
do you'd do D11, then white would kick, you would stand.
Yep. Yeah. So this is more of my what I learned when I was a kid, right? Because I've been
Mhm.
playing since 2005, so that I was way before the computer came in.
Yeah,
Um,
2007 for me.
yeah. And so I peeped here to stick with the modern times, right?
Yeah, it's not
Um,
bad. Do you know why it's played?
well, for me, it looks like it just builds a nice wall here, and it threatens to take the corner. And if white submits, this is just great
Mhm.
for black, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can play. So originally, it was used in conjunction with C11 now for black.
Hmm.
And the difference is if white plays D12, the stone exchanging E15, E16 is going to be useful against white's shoulder hit. Um,
Hmm.
so black can block, and then white can jump back, and then black can cut through at D15.
Okay. Oh, I
Mhm.
see. Right. Yeah. Something like this.
Mhm. Yeah, or you can drive at D13 if white cuts. But yes, that's the general gist of the position is that white's not going to gain a lot extra here, even if white takes two stones, and black's going to get the free Atari. So you can
Right. I
Atari
see.
again, and then white extends, and then Atari again.
Yeah. This looks
And like
nice.
black is getting a lot of benefits by Sente. So the exchange turns out is actually useful when you're planning to expand along the side.
Gotcha. I didn't know this part
Mhm.
of it because the computer usually doesn't play this after, right? We don't. I usually don't get to see this
Yeah.
part. So
Yeah,
I
that's
never.
because the exchange makes it not as great for white. So that's why you don't see it getting used here.
Right. So this is a really good lesson. Where did you learn this?
I took a class on AI Joseki from a Taiwanese 5P
Oh, cool.
for about half a year.
And then you're able to memorize it all, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah, I have all the SGFs still saved on my computer.
A lot
So
of
I review them from
times,
time to time with my notes.
yeah, a lot of the times I'll take a lesson and then, a week later it's gone, right? So, so it's
That's
really
why
awesome you have that
that's why I
down.
like the Anki flashcards.
Oh, okay. I'll have to ask about those after. Like if you have a set that could be useful for me or something.
I like prefer telling people to make their own.
Ah, okay.
But I might disseminate mine and share them. But probably that's why your opponent played the move that he did instead of defending the corner. He saw the left side getting big and didn't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And so
which,
as
yeah. Oops, sorry.
far as I know, there's two ways you can go from now.
So the
You were
only,
gonna say?
no, 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 that's fine. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing that, obviously he knows that this is too submissive, right?
Hmm.
So he played this. So at this time of the game, I made a decision to not just take the corner right away, but to counterattack this.
Okay.
Um,
So I think
mhm.
I actually just gave a lesson on this exact shape on Monday to my class. There's really only two moves that you should be looking at here for the most part. C17 obviously is the basic easy one that we can all see. White doesn't go in the corner, so you take the corner. But when you want to play on the outside, usually it's beneficial to play E13 first.
Dog face shape. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so this one is kind of the vital point against the position on the left side anyway. Like white's often going to take that point if black doesn't. So,
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
you go back to move and imagine white gets another move. Where do you think white's going to go? Oh, all of a sudden, something around that dog's head makes a lot of sense
yeah, because
in
this.
relation with the wall, right?
Hmm.
So you can pressure the white stone and get the attack by playing the dog's head first. If white makes a base, you can check the base, C7.
Okay, yeah, and I
And
can
it's a good,
see.
yeah, it's a good flow, good attacking flow for black because you've got the low stone at L17 to lean on,
Mm,
which is going to be giving you some extra territories. And you've got the sun in the corner still to get extra points back.
hmm.
So,
Yeah, and the attack feels good, and the security, the helpful security of the corner feels good. I can see it.
right.
It's very clear that making good shape here is going to help you no matter what. So
Yes.
this is really good.
Mhm.
This is definitely something I very useful for me to learn.
Mhm.
Already, I've taken two very important lessons, right? And compare
Mhm.
this, and then compare this. That's nice.
Mhm.
All right. So White, of course, wants to fight, right? So that's what this diagonal said to me was that he wanted to keep these two split,
Right.
which makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a hit or miss whether or not that's the right direction for him.
mhm.
Let me think. Because black is always going to be able to duck into the corner. And then it's a matter of what useful counterplay is he going to get against B.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
When I
I
see
see
this,
that.
when I see this lean, B is more or less what I'm thinking his target is, the B stone.
Okay.
Because he's gonna be forcing the corner to get stronger, right? So the corner can't be his objective.
Hmm.
Um, the objective must be something deeper than that. And so if I'm looking at the position, I'm thinking, okay, the objective is probably he's trying to get strength against A to come back to handle B somehow. Is that the right call? This directly? I don't know. I think if black just jumps in the corner here, it's going to be good, and I'm not sure what white's follow up is going to be per se.
If Black gets it here now, or and just let White connect.
Yeah, if black just goes in the corner and lets white connect. I don't know what the follow up is going to be for white.
Hmm. Okay.
Just like white could try to connect out on top. Maybe that's fine. But if black gets Sente and can jump to F10, I wonder about how efficient it is.
And right. Yeah, it's not really a big gain if White can't make points here, right?
Right. Like
Uh,
so white's giving up a lot in the corner to
that's that's
potentially get the center.
that's interesting. My thoughts were, keep White split,
Hmm.
right?
Fighting
But
style, it's not bad either.
yeah, but yours says, "Who cares if he connects? You just took a corner, and then you can take a big move later, right?"
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I like that. I like that. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, this one.
so then
Interesting.
this was the best I could come up with to keep White, disconnected. Um,
Usually, if you're going to disconnect, it should be lunging forward with the knight's move.
so over
But
here.
your shape is a little thin. Like white's going to push and cut for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
don't have c17 in the corner, so it still might be necessary to block the corner first.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
just in general, playing the corner point is very big. You don't have the option to go after the side anymore. The initial position after you peep and slide is you have a Miai, the left side in the corner. At
Mm-hmm.
some point, you want to make sure you're not losing access to both.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean,
Also,
mhm. Go ahead.
when in the variation you played in the game, when he hanes, you can just cut. You don't have to make the ko shape.
I was thinking this. Yeah, this came to mind. What? Why didn't I? So I figured White would play this, and then I would be caught in a ladder, right? And then I thought I would have to break the ladder, but then he gets this nice seal on me. But I guess.
You could just you could just Atari the stone. Instead of playing 3, you could Atari it G15 and force him out, and then connect it F15.
Okay. So yeah, now I have a what Kaz calls a Romeo Juliet split, right? It's a very
Yeah,
nice broken
exactly.
knights move. This is
Yeah,
nice.
it's
Yeah.
you kind of protect one indirectly by threatening B. It's like danger levels, right?
Yeah.
What's worth more than one stone in the center? White's whole
Okay.
group in the corner.
Yeah, my judgment was off on this one. Then I was just thinking of this, and so I totally missed this opportunity.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I think if it just goes like that, then it's clearly easy for white, right?
right, and that's why I didn't play it. But yeah, it's pretty clear now. I could have just Atari'd out, and this would have been
Yeah, and
a good shape for
so
me.
so in general, if I may have control,
Hmm?
an easy way that you can kind of think about the shape is
Give control.
um,
Here we go.
imagine we have right.
Hmm.
How do you know what move to play in the crosscut? Oftentimes, it's dictated by stones.
Hmm.
Usually, it's going to be an extend, something like this or like this. But like if we say, for example, white's got a stone like this, creating this knight's move,
Hmm.
breaking the shape like this becomes very effective. This Atari Connect,
Hmm.
and oftentimes it's worth it. Now, what shape does that look like?
Pretty much what we got going on here.
Right?
Yeah, cutting the knight's move is so nice.
Atari Connect, and it's the same as the shape we just looked at,
Hmm.
right? Mhm. There you go.
That's a good example. I tell my students often not to Atari in the crosscut because a lot of
Yeah.
times it's really bad. But it's
Yep.
always nice to see a time when it's good,
Mhm.
right?
When it's cutting the opponent's group and the groups are not alive,
Hmm.
it's good. And when playing Atari puts the opponent in bad shape, i.e., empty triangle, then
Mm.
Atari is good usually.
All right, so this is how it
Oh,
went,
the
and
Hane is very aggressive.
I figured that obviously this ladder works for him, and I don't know if well I wouldn't
What
I
do
don't
you do?
I wouldn't
What do you? Hmm?
I was gonna say I wouldn't want to pull out like this because there's such a weakness here. So if
I'm gonna
it
make
goes like
you.
this, it's fine. Hmm?
I'm gonna make you think a little more big brain. What if white doesn't cut? What if white plays it too?
Two, two. What here?
No, it's C17.
C17. Okay, yeah, and this is exactly what I thought about this in the stream. I was saying that this was kind of a risk because white it can you can argue white's fairly strong here, right? Because of this ladder connection, and black doesn't
Yes.
really have a lot of eye shape, and it's white's
Hmm.
next move, right? So yeah, I did consider this. I went for it anyway. um, But yeah, I can see how painful this could be for black.
Yeah. I think if he just punishes like this, it's going to be difficult for you,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're connecting there in Gote. That's your dumpling is even more dumplingified, and then he can just do h17. H17 would be a better direction for white because 17, not 16.
Um,
You want to leave less cutting weakness. But in general, white is gaining with every exchange here, 1 and 3, making points. Black is with the Hane Connect playing on Dame effectively, and the only compensation you hope to get is with a possible attack on the center. Right now, you can't cut because the ladder favors white, and your group is also not alive yet.
yeah. So this would be my running shape, and then I would have issues, and he would be able to profit while I have to run away.
Right.
So this would be yeah good for white, and it's something I totally considered. But I wanted to play it anyway. Reason being is because I didn't want to play this because the whole point of my goal was to split white, right? And I did
Right.
it poorly, but I kept my goal in mind, right, to keep white split.
Mm,
But in this case, if we go back, I should have just played this, and then that plan works, right? But once
right.
I played this, it became a problem. So my plan
Yeah.
didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're already sealed and like kind of heavy. The cut. Another way you can kind of think about it is like you're cutting thick shapes. Like white's groups have a lot of liberties.
mm,
Like even if white cuts here, you only have 4.
mm-hmm,
And then your outside has 2, right? And that's 4 and 2 versus 4 and 6,
mm,
right? So 4 and 2 is not greater than 4 and 6, and therefore very painful for you to be fighting that.
yeah, I was expecting something like this, and then white would just fix, and there would be some weakness here for later, and then the game would have just
Mhm.
gone on. Um,
Right.
but I did also consider this, and I don't think I realized how bad this could have been. Like I knew this was bad. I thought like white would be able to get ahead of me or something, and then now I'm gonna have to fight for 2 eyes. But
Yeah.
um, it
Actually, I think maybe low mid down players might play J15, but in general, that's the riskier direction for white
hmm, gotcha.
because there's no concrete profit from the attack there in the center. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was just my thinking.
No,
Um,
I appreciate the thinking. All right, we can keep going. Where did white play
so
after
then
this point?
I just want to mark this. This was actually really good.
Mhm.
And then I want to mark this because that was really good. But I think yeah, even in my stream, like when I was talking to everyone, I thought that this was a bad move. Um,
Yes. And best way to punish the bad move?
hmm.
Tanuki. When you extend it, it became not bad anymore.
I thought this was good for me now because when he cuts, I don't have that ladder issue, right?
Yeah.
And so
But he
now,
shouldn't cut.
okay. I was gonna say now he has like a big problem in my opinion.
Yeah. No, what happens is if instead of cutting, he just plays C17, then
C17,
it's
yeah,
still going to be painful for you because then after that, he just plays from the center.
plays from the center. Okay, yeah. So yeah, he still had this option then.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah. So
I
the vital point, like technical mechanism of Go from Inseong, it's a good lecture. If you haven't seen it, check it out on his Yungasang YouTube.
hmm,
What is the reason why it's bad for black? Oh, because C17 exists. So you should be taking C17. It's the vital point.
gotcha. So I
Yep.
should have just been more defensive here instead of so cut heavy.
All right.
Um,
But now you
but
can go back and take it, and it's a fight on the outside, but white is also weak. So
yeah,
now it's starting to shape up. Starting to shape up for black. Black is beginning to sort of get back into the rhythm.
yeah, and that's exactly how I felt once I got this because before I was thinking if he just took the cut, and I got this, then it's really nice for white here. But now that he played this, and I got the kind of the same thing, but there's no clear like Tetsuji to kill this, then it's really nice for black, I think.
White should have played the tested of his own here. White can attach at b15.
B15 here.
Mm-hmm. And if black turns, then you cut because of the liberty shortage of the black stones. It's like a crane's nest liberty shortage. Black has to capture the one stone.
Gotcha.
Means he's going to lose the corner.
And then white did
Off
take the
it.
corner. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. I was wondering about this cut for a long time.
Yeah. If he plays it though, you can resist by clamping.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
It's
was
another
wondering
sort of
about this
common
for.
shape refutation. Mm-hmm.
Let's
Okay.
see. Oh, so this was my first big controversial thought for myself. Like all in all, I didn't think too much about like this pincer, right? Where you showed me the dog's face would have been better, or playing this earlier would have been much better.
Mm-hmm.
But for my own controversy, my own question is: should I have cared about these cutting stones? Right? Would it have just been better to take some profit somewhere and not worry about these? Because
Well,
when
what
I
are you hoping to get out of the fight?
Well, when I play this fight, I thought that I would keep these weak, and as he runs away, which
Mm-hmm.
he does, then I
Mm-hmm.
can shore up my territory here. I could
Sure.
make profit while attacking. That was my plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Makes sense.
so then, yeah, that was
Seems
it.
fine to me. It
um,
seems to me maybe you had an ounce more depth that you could add to this position, right? So if we go back to J13, can I jump and fight here? Yes, I can. White is weak. I'm weak. Through the running fight, I will get stronger. I'll naturally cap the top side development. The bottom right won't be able to expand, and I'll be able to grow the left. So attacking, good move.
hmm,
Nothing wrong with it. Um, is there anything you can do that's bigger and or better? How
hmm,
big, in order to determine that, you need to think how big is white A? If white A is very, very big also, and nothing's bigger than white A, then A is urgent and you must play it.
hmm,
But if it's not urgent, then you can look at the board and ask yourself if there's any moves that are actually bigger or more impactful than attacking first, or maybe might contribute to attacking more effectively. In which
hmm.
case, if you just look at white's group, you'll notice something interesting about white's group.
This
What is it that we can see?
we're talking about this white group.
The white group at F13.
F13. Yeah, this group. Okay.
Yep.
Well, it's not connected, right? So let's say if I
Hmm.
played something like this would open up this ladder.
Perfect.
I did.
Right. And O3 is a move you want to play anyway, right?
Yeah. Does O3 work actually too? Because I saw O4 did, but I didn't know if O3 did actually. If it
Where's the
did,
ladder go?
I would have been much more inclined to do it.
So
So let's
so
Tanuki, right?
here
Yeah.
hold on. Here's a trick. Here's a trick.
Hmm.
Do me a favor and put a white stone on Tengen and a black stone on H9.
Okay. Tengen, H9, H9,
Yep.
H9 here.
Yeah. Now have black cut and play out the ladder.
Okay.
Now it's gonna hit at one the exact same way that you see it hit here.
Ah, okay. On the low here, right?
This is a trick you can use to read ladders faster.
Okay,
If you don't believe me, feel free to play it out. You'll see it's going to connect at exactly the same spot.
gotcha.
It'll be right on top of it.
I do believe you, but I do want to see it actually. So let me just see it. Because when I read it, I thought I would need a high stone. Now I feel silly.
Mm, unless there's some like bum trickery.
Yeah,
Usually not.
right. Obviously, this would be great for black, and this would be great for black, and so playing low would have been really nice. Okay, so funny, I did think about that idea that yes, there's a cutting weakness. These cutting stones, like this area is not that big, and so
Yeah.
it'd be nice to stick to the fundamentals, right? Which is to
Right.
approach the corners first.
Mhm.
But silly me, I read that this worked, and I didn't read that this worked, even though it's kind of clear looking at it. Um, and I was told my viewers, I was like, would tell my students never to approach a corner this high, right? This high
Mm.
approach.
Unless you're
So
Takemiya.
yeah, yeah, unless you're talking me. But yeah, so I didn't really want to play this move. But if I could have got away with this I think is much better plan than playing this.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this does
And I
run
think
the risk of spoiling your territory too,
yeah,
right? At the same
it does.
time.
Yeah, and you also make that area more important
Mm. This area more
in lieu
important?
of the fact the center, yeah, in lieu
Mm.
of the fact that you're adding more stones there, you're committing to that area. But there's no points with the group in the center. You effectively just need that group to be a living group. It's
Mm-hmm.
a strategy that you can play if you're already winning
Mm.
or having a considerable advantage, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not bad. Like it's not a bad move. You can just get more out of O3.
Mm.
And O3 has an extra benefit that if white happens to be paying attention to the ladder and white fixes it, for example, G11, then now you don't ever need to play J13.
Okay. Yeah, I can just focus on something else, right?
Yeah. And
Like I.
you can be free to use 3 stones in a plethora of different ways, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you get a little bit more flexibility out of the shape there, not committing to the attack versus committing. But I can't say A is a mistake.
Okay.
I think that fundamentally it's a good move. It's working move. It's just a very direct move,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And direct moves tend to be less efficient sometimes than moves that can accomplish more than one thing.
Right. Yeah, this is nice because it sets up a ladder and is just building a lot and it's attacking the corner. So it's doing three things at once. Whereas this
Right.
is directly just doing kind of one to two
Yeah.
things, right?
I'm gonna fix, he's gonna fix, I might get something on the left, and then we go from there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm,
So
okay.
yeah, this was definitely one of my controversies. I think in the end, I just decided like this is my weakest group, so I'm gonna fix it, and I
Mhm.
know that it's gonna help me profit and build some influence. I think that's what I told my viewers too. So that was my thinking with this. But yeah, I should have just read further with this ladder. That's
All
really what
right.
it boils down to, because
Uh-huh.
my idea was there too.
Mhm. So far,
Um,
so good.
yeah. So this was
Okay.
another controversy move, and I do see the computer didn't like it that much. My idea was I didn't want to bunker down.
It's a bit soft. I think typically in this shape, AI prefers H4. It's got a like H4 will do the same thing. It's just it's biased to this way of doing it
Okay,
because it commits white to responding. The problem with G5 is G5 is incentive,
gotcha. Yeah,
right? So you
yeah,
play this move and white doesn't have to answer,
yeah, yeah.
right? But you play H4 and white's going to answer.
Gotcha.
So your
Yeah,
follow up is much more severe. If white pushes you Hane, if white Hanes you cut. Mhm.
gotcha. Yeah, this looks
Yeah,
like a
now you
much
can
better
see.
fight for black.
Yeah, now if white cuts, you can extend. White Atari, you Atari. White can connect or capture, and now look, you can peep at H10 and where are white's eyes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
H10, H10. Oh, yes, yes, I see. Yeah, this would be
Right.
nice.
So it's a
Cool.
good continuity because moving in the center direction from here is good for you anyway.
Yeah, that is nice. All right, I like this. This is a new move for me. I mean, obviously it's just a shoulder hit, but working in connection with this one jump, right? This is really nice.
Right.
Yeah, so obviously playing something like this would have been bad, right? I would think so. I'm asking.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, that move would be too conservative.
yeah. I thought so.
Like A you fix white, but B you don't even remove all the problems in the corner. Like I can still invade B4.
That's what I thought. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I was saying on stream. Was that like, I wouldn't want to bunker down and make white stronger. This is only helping white, right? And there's still
Yeah.
weaknesses here.
It makes the
Um,
center weak. Your top right R14 group still owes a move if white peeps, which means white's going to be able to get ahead of you in the center from the right side.
hmm,
Yeah, you just don't want to be helping white. Like if white can close off the west and the south, then where does the group at J15 run?
mm-hmm.
Those are the only available directions to it. If those directions are covered by white, then it's going to be hard to fight. And you have to always treat it like, okay, white Q15 is a Sentei, you know it's there, right? So in your mind, you're always thinking that unless you're going to spend a move to stop it, you have to treat the position as though white has already played it in your mind.
Hmm.
And we call that an invisible stone, invisible exchange. So there's this invisible 1 for 2 exchange on the board already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then white's only going to have to spend a tempo getting ahead of black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something like P13 or P12. And then you have to think about what is that going to look like in relation to the rest of the board, namely my weak group in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
think making white strong on the bottom with that fact in mind would be a very happy day for white.
Right. Right. Yeah. So that's why I played this move. But it's
Mhm.
really nice to know this is a thing. I like
Yeah,
this a lot.
just a shape detail. Sometimes white, it's better to cross cut instead of playing the Hane at 4
Sorry.
because it's kind of
Oh,
like
here.
yeah, because sometimes if you do the Hane cut variation, it turns into bad shape, like you Atari'd from the cross cut in the wrong situation.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's better for white just to cut this way. I'm going to avoid exchanging at f5, in which case black should thrust down to h3, white Hane h2, black Hane j2. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that Black Hanes?
Yeah. This is kind of like a side Joseki of sorts.
This looks good for Black, in my opinion, though.
Not as good as the other variation. The
Okay.
other variation was crippling because white was dying in that
Right. Right.
variation. Yeah, but in
Okay.
this variation, white's going to be able to sneak back at like d3 in the corner type of thing. So it's some complication from there, but at the same time, you should learn how to handle sort of both when they hane and when they cut
Gotcha.
directly because it's really their choice whether they want to make the bad exchange or not.
Mm. Yeah.
Sometimes it's good and sometimes it isn't.
What if Black exchanged this? Like,
Mm,
if obviously if White takes it, would be the same, right? It would be very similar.
more or less. More or less, yeah.
But I guess White has options to play something like this now, right? It could get. It just
Yes.
changes. It just changes
Mhm.
it. Okay.
Yeah. And you want to
Um.
be careful of ladders that run to the upper right because if, like, let's say a white move at k9 or j8 became a ladder breaker,
Mhm.
then white might not even save the stone at 4. White might just save the group at 2 and allow black the ladder. Like
Gotcha.
imagine white
Yeah.
e3 or e2 here. Like white
Gotcha.
might e2, black d3, white j2. And if black plays the ladder, does white have a useful ladder break in the center?
So yeah, if White has a ladder break, a good one. Yeah. I mean, even
Yeah, like
just putting pressure like here now is putting pressure on
yeah,
this, right? And this breaks the
yeah. If this
ladder.
is if this is sente both ways, then you lost a move
Mm.
by extending at 5. So very important. Defend the weak stone. In this case, it's the stone at 1. You don't care if white plays against the stone at 3 because if white plays against 3, what's going to happen? It's going to get stronger, right?
Right. Yeah, and it has
So
friends.
strengthen your group that's in the weak area because
Gotcha.
that group will be an asset when dealing with the center.
All right, cool. So this is definitely a new move for me too. This is really good. All right. Let's
Oh, he
keep going.
slid.
Yeah, he slid down.
Mm.
And then I just wanted to chain my opponent up, right? Poke at some
Um,
weaknesses, make it weaker.
so there was a proverb I heard when I was 14 years old, and it goes 99% of the time the peeps we play are bad. And on the other hand, 99% of the time in fighting, empty triangle is a great move. In this case, if you want to peep f10, did you need the d11 peep beforehand? What does that
No.
peep actually accomplish?
Well, to me, it put him in an empty triangle, kept him flat.
Well, sure, but what if he ignored it and played e11 instead?
If he
Now I
played
have an eye and I have good shape.
fair, but for me, I thought I would be happy with just obtaining all this territory.
In Gote, sure. Now I play J8 in the center. You're under attack. How do you handle?
Here, this one.
Mhm.
Uh,
So you gave up the initiative for 11 points on the left side.
Hmm. Yeah, I do that.
I'll take it.
I do that.
Right. And this is just
Right,
a
right.
like just as an example. But
Right.
you could have just peeped directly. If the peep is the critical point, you don't need to waste time. Just
Hmm.
peep at F10.
Gotcha.
Because after white connects, you don't need to make the other peep. You just seal from the outside of J9. White's not going to play D11 to stop the peep. And better shape it's better shape for black to go at it by making Atari at C13 anyway. If you're going to force the connection
Hmm.
and break the eye space. So because at least if you play C13 right and white connects at D12, then this is assuming white doesn't play 4, right?
Hmm.
Um then at least you've covered B15 also.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I see what you're saying with this move. So the like instead of exchanging this peep, later on this would be more useful because it's doing two
Right.
things, right?
Right. And
I see.
you just don't need the peep to do the same job that one is doing already for the 1-2 exchange. The D11 only took away the C13 Atari from you and actually causes you to lose points because it makes B15 even more possible for white now that there's no more shape weakness.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely a good insight
Yeah.
here. So have you
Because
found
now,
that proverb to be true? The one where like,
yes.
99% of the time peeps are bad?
Yep. More or less. Nowadays, I don't really try to peep unless I absolutely need it. Like
Okay.
here, when you peeped and white connected,
Hmm.
and then you play the other peep, like at this point, what if white just plays B15 and doesn't connect?
B15. Okay.
Mhm.
This one. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I probably would have answered like this and lost the corner, and then played something like this. It's probably what would have happened. So white takes a big corner.
Okay, Hane?
Uh, this on the outside here.
Yeah. Okay, it's fine. Now you can go back and peep at K12.
K12.
Hmm.
For white. Okay.
Yep, and then connect the peep that black played earlier. What do we think
Gotcha.
about this?
White got to connect for the peep and got good exchanges. Right. This is good for white.
Mhm. Right.
Hmm.
Clearly, I think good for white. Maybe not for the people watching the video if they're a little bit lower level, but effectively, white was able to reduce the left side with 9 and 11,
Hmm.
making it smaller. White gets the end game at A10.
Hmm.
Black never had time to follow up the peep at F10. So the
Mm,
peep ended up becoming, it went from being a Sente to being too slow because of the D11 exchange.
I see. Okay.
And also white gains profit in the corner in that variation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to
Mhm.
know. So yeah, this was bad. All right, I marked it. I'll keep that one in mind. This one's a little less. This one's a lot more subtle, but it comes with a good proverb compared to like just learning a new move. Like
Right.
this. This
Hmm.
one's much easier to remember, and it more such that situation's gonna come up more, I think. But I
Hmm.
understand, and I'll keep it in mind. This whole peep
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's just because you think, right? Peeps are inherently better for the person connecting the peep. They had a weakness before and then they don't
Mm-hmm.
anymore, right? So they get to fix a shape weakness for free by an exchange that you made.
Mm-hmm.
So you're losing something.
Mm-hmm.
But the gain is often it's often something that's a little bit more manifested via like during the initiative, right? So like generally if you're playing peeps, it's usually because you're using it to break some other variation or to strengthen your attack somehow. And you don't mind taking the small loss against the shape because you're gonna have a strong follow-up anyway, like here your jump at J9,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where
Yeah,
white
yeah,
jump. And B13 is very big for black, but I'll ignore harping on that point because I've already beaten that horse to death.
yeah. I was considering this a lot, right? Because felt there was a weakness here, but I couldn't see how powerful this weakness was, right? To lose a full corner.
Also, your peep at H8 is not great.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to talk about because at this point of the stream, I was thinking like, actually, it was after this peep, but after this point, I was thinking, like,
Mhm.
do I want to really continue encapsulating white because white still has something here that can hurt me. And if white lives, it's not going to be good for black, right? If black,
Mhm.
I had some foresight when I was thinking about it,
Mhm.
but now I was just feeling like if white lives here now, this could be bad for black if like black loses all its territory it's going for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
instead, I
And
just
your 4 stones inside are actually much weaker than you might have thought because of B15.
exactly, and so
White's getting
that's
a free cut at B11.
yeah, and so that's why I decided to pedal backwards and just take a good shape point to like make some strength,
Mhm.
and I didn't care if white got out because now I could fix myself, which I thought I did because I kept thinking about fixing myself here, but I guess I didn't.
It's a big move that goes to me. Also shape wise here,
Hmm.
pushing at H5 is another example of a sort of very common bad exchange.
I thought this was
Um,
good, keeping like both sides
normally
weak.
normally yes, but you played E6 and that's the difference, right? E6 makes the G5 stone much stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a stone at H8. So when you have that context, play the knight's move, J4, go faster.
Gotcha.
Because how does white cut? If white plays H5, block, cut, you make table.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
center.
it's good shape.
If white connects, you drop to H2.
Oh, H2.
Mhm.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, I see it.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So I guess I should have just been thinking faster here. My mindset at the time was just keep them split. So I thought this was
Yeah.
good enough. But
Yeah.
I
It's just
see.
using all of your stones more effectively.
Yeah, this is a nice jump here.
Mhm.
Just to pedal
Mhm.
back because I think you had something to say about it. We both feel that this was a bad move, and that's why I have to backpedal.
Yeah,
But
I
it,
think just defend the B15 issue. In general, the peep doesn't help you, right? If we said that the group on the left was immortal, maybe there's an argument for the peep, but usually just J7 would be better locally. Or
mm,
you could even attach H3. That would be another useful idea.
G7 H3 here, yeah,
Mm,
to get strong, gain
yeah.
more strength, right? You're
Yeah.
what do you call it? Making noise in the right, making noise in the south to attack in the north, type thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Precisely.
right. Yeah, this is nice. Okay. Very good. Yeah, so this peep was bad too. So we have two peeps we can consider that was kind of in poor taste.
Mm, yeah.
Let's see. And this is just too slow from what you've told me, right? Like it would have been better to move
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah. Because white doesn't have to answer the push. And you already had enough power in the area. You could have just jumped out faster.
That makes a lot of sense.
This one, I think J3, I don't think it's terrible per se, but I think it's better on the star point,
Okay.
not directly attacking either side.
Mm,
Here's a bit of the logic, right? You play this one and white jumps in the center, answering the big threat, which is obviously black is attacking. But now you can attack from J2 or from C2, and it's a more severe attack against the G3 stones
yeah,
with
it's
a
in.
much bigger, more readily available territory payout.
Gotcha.
Whereas the knight's move at J3, it doesn't really pressure the middle.
hmm
It just directly attacks the bottom. He fixes the bottom. What next?
hmm Uh, yeah. He didn't fix the bottom right away. But yeah, I was expecting him to. I was expecting him to come back or something. Uh,
I think H3 is a bit of a miss in the shape also for you after his turn.
so when
You
I
can just
played
bump
this,
this. Yeah, you can just bump this.
this one,
Yeah.
I felt like since he's already on the vital point, which mind you, if he answered it now, I think he's still in trouble, right? Like he still has a lot to worry about.
Right.
Um,
Akari descend, or you could even just H2. You
yeah,
don't have to do Akari.
H2, H2. Like this.
Yeah, you can just instead of 3,
Hmm.
the Atari at 3, you can omit
Oh, I
and
see.
just play H2.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I just felt like he was already on my vital point, so I didn't like it. Not that this is
Mm,
much better, but you have like the double Atari here, right? If he tries
yeah,
to
directly.
fake
The
you.
the problem is when he plays moves around F4, D3, he gets stronger. You have a weakness left over, and it's not exactly sure where the optimal move to fix it's going to be.
Hmm.
So I'm just thinking about shape-wise moving like forward in the game, small like semantic detail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's slightly better shape to bump J4. It
Gotcha.
controls more of the bottom side, has more impact on the center.
Yeah, it was definitely a thought of mine. I thought about it, but I
Mhm.
see now that instead of just directly Ataring, right, I can just
Mhm.
gently give it a hug.
Yeah, you can also play L4 and it's Sente. So
Oh, right. Yeah, threatening to capture the whole thing here. Yeah, this was less about safety. Even if I did get cut and like white magically lived, right? Like there was still
Mhm.
plenty I was fine with, like, being able to extend or, do. I wasn't worried about this dying even if it got cut. That was the thing.
Right.
But I see, yeah, this is just better. All right.
Mhm.
I couldn't see any other way to go about this. Once you played here, I didn't see, like, maybe I didn't look too hard either. I was fine with just taking Sente and then moving on.
Yeah, his
Um,
move there was very weird.
that B3 here, yeah.
Yeah, and I think. Hmm, hmm, I think you can just block B4.
So that this is my thinking with that. If I play B4 and White just
Mhm.
gets more, right? That's kind
Hane?
that's kind of my thought, right?
Clamp?
Okay, let's see. Black breaks the eye, right?
Yeah.
And then, well, White still lives, right? There's no way that Black can kill. Am I wrong? Does White not
You
get
can
more out of
just
this?
you can just cut with 7. 7 can be at C2.
Cut with 7. 7C2. Okay.
Yeah, just capture 2 stones.
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't see that.
Yeah, black would or white would have to connect in the shape at C2. White can't Hane, and then black goes underneath. And then this, I believe, is a ko.
Oh, okay.
Starting from A2, A1, B1, C1, D1.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, this is better. All right, so yeah, this is better. For me, I was thinking that White would live here, and so that's just giving him more. So that's why I decided to take, some away from him and just take Sente. But yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
clear if you can just kill, then this is far better.
Mhm.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Mhm.
Um,
So here, I think L8's a bit soft.
hmm,
I think maybe M12 slightly better. It's kind of a shape point white eventually wants to get back to attack you. But in general, if like let's say white happens to play away for some reason,
hmm,
maybe white does D18, then now you've got a better attacking direction from L4. And the reason it's a better attacking direction this way is because you're driving him towards the upper right corner and you're cutting off the Q4 stone from the group on the left.
hmm. Yeah, this is nice.
Right.
All right, yeah, I
The,
can see the softness in this one. Because
yeah,
it's
this
still
one's
pretty.
also kind of it's also kind of encouraging him to settle towards the bottom side and get closer to his own Q4 stone.
Hmm.
So you're kind of losing options against Q4 in that
Got
regard.
gotcha. Yeah, I can see that this is C is very far from both A and B, so it's like, as you said, soft.
Mhm.
So he did play through this. I'm just gonna speed up a little more.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was just playing this to get further out. So I kind of felt good about this. If I'm gaining
Mm,
profit on the bottom, at least for the most of the game, it felt like my attack was profiting while he was just having to run away. So I thought I was doing good.
mm.
This move didn't seem right to me. I felt very lucky. I got everything I wanted out of it. I thought he could just play
Um,
here and like then it's good for him.
yes. I think instead of attaching in this case, you can just make knights move m10.
Okay, so just
Right.
make a balloon shape, like start making some eye shape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
I felt like this was a big mistake for me.
I think cut. Yeah, him cutting is also fine. Like m6 isn't a bad move.
Yeah, I
Um,
just felt like I got more options out of it.
well, he played Atari, which was bad, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no context here for playing the Atari. So instead, he should Sagari to n9, just
And
extend up.
yes, I think I talked about this too in the stream. Like I think he had two options that could have hurt me, and then he didn't take either of them. So this is where I was like really happy.
Yeah, once black gets that Atari exchange, it's like really good for black. I think
Hmm.
like black is already a lot more stable after even just the one Atari.
Hmm.
Um, this Atari is a bad exchange, but
I'm used to taking
yeah,
all my free stuff with my sacrifices.
it's not quite
Yeah,
free because you lose the ability to extend to n6
and six. Yeah, that makes sense.
or the peep at o5 that can be possible without it.
Mm.
So it's a small loss for you taking that
Mm.
turn there. Mm, okay,
So at this
sounds
point, I
good.
could see White profit was starting to profit off of my weakness, right? Which kind of
Hmm.
stinks for me. He was able to turn it back around. Um,
Hmm.
so I played as much as I could. I was expecting this attachment, and then I guess black is safe here. So even with this attachment, so I guess it's not the biggest deal. But I was expecting this attachment,
Mm.
but he played here instead.
That's a very awkward move.
I thought so too.
I can't imagine what the plan was with this move.
And then I made a
Yeah, I
mistake.
don't know.
I thought because there's a weakness here that then this cut was fine, right? Like of course I thought about the proper cut, but I did feel like there was some weaknesses,
Mm.
But it was what it was. But so
The
I
bump
played
cut
this
is
one. Mhm.
the bump cut's a bit vulgar. White should just break the shape.
This is vulgar.
No, the bump cut, the one you
This one.
played.
Oh, okay, yeah. As always, as you said, vulgar. I call it dirty, right? So this is the dirty cut. The reason
Yeah.
I justified it this time was because there was weaknesses on two sides.
Yeah, there's really only weaknesses on one, but he can fix it with his next move, except he fucked up.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
pardon my
let's
language.
yeah, no
Um,
worries.
he should extend to P12 and just break the knight's move.
P12, right? So this one first, right?
P12. No,
This
no.
one.
Extend, yes.
Okay,
And then extend again.
and so he
And
gets what I
now,
was worried about anyway, right? Even in the
yep.
proper cut, because there's lots of
Yeah, and
weaknesses here.
now he plays M12.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
Black is feeling really silly that L8 didn't contribute to eyes yet.
Hmm. Yeah, this would be pretty worrisome for me because
Mhm.
this is a false eye, and then there's just I'm starting to lose eyes quick.
Yep.
So would the proper cut been better, or is there something else I'm missing?
Mm,
Like if we go through the motions, I think it's fairly similar, but I guess black gets sente.
mm. In this case, I think you don't need to make any of the cuts. I think a more accurate move for you would have probably been cutting at 06. Anything you do on the right side, you can do via the tempo of this cutting point.
Hmm. Okay.
But O6 is big. A, it's a ko, and now you've got local ko threats because he played this R12 move.
Mm.
But B, if you manage to get back to turning at O10, White's only got 3 liberties with the O8 group. That's a huge liberty shortage, which means
Mm.
Black's going to have no trouble living locally in the inside.
Okay.
Yeah, like if
That's
White blocks now, then Black takes the ko, White connects.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you can see you can do everything here by basically free tempo with the O6 cut. It's going to cause a lot of problems for your opponent.
Gotcha.
Mm. In general, also F2 is a very big move. Um, for both. White's not completely alive in the corner without some extra assistance.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if White gets G2, it's very, very big because you have to find a way to defend the N3 group. You're not alive after he descends.
Mm.
You could connect at H4, but then you're trading a move that's worth about 4 points for Dame.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a good game for White by Sente. So F2 is also a good move to try to find good timing to get in.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of this move for a long time. I did see that,
Mm,
this would be like ideal, of course, but I did see there's a defense here as well, right? And it doesn't feel like
mm,
I can capitalize on this as much as I want to.
mm.
That's what I was thinking anyway. But yeah, this was always a part of my, forefront of my mind. But this move you're saying is even better, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of like a local Tesuji because if he plays this one, you can just bump at E3.
E3, okay. Oh, right, sorry. E3 bump here. I see.
Mhm.
So if he
Right,
plays this, you can play this,
right,
right? Very
right.
cool. Very cool. All right, I like this. This
Yeah,
is better than
and if
this one.
he yeah, and if he goes from above, you connect back at G2.
Okay, like this then, right? And he hasn't gained any eyes from this.
Yeah, pretty much. Or you
Okay.
can even cut through at F3. That's fine. I was saying like if he had played F3 himself, then you could play G2 like worst case.
I see. Yeah,
You're
yeah,
making points and eyes.
yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
plenty of ways that stone can escape and go.
Gotcha. All right. So
Okay.
either cut wasn't worth it at the
Yeah.
time. It would have been better to play here, and I can
Hmm.
see that, right? Because this is like win or lose, right? If White gets this, he's gonna win, and then vice versa. Um. So this is how it went. Was there a way to? You said to. Oh yeah, it was this one, right? Just play this, and White can be happy.
Yes, so I can just give up one stone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. We think about it in the sense of don't save forcing moves, right? So if R13 elicited a response, we can call that move forcing. And then we can say that it was not good for White to save it.
Okay.
Everything up until now is fine. Okay, you pushed again. He haned.
I
You
hated.
invaded.
I hated this move. Yeah, I don't know. I would
Um,
think I was on Omi at this point. Maybe. I just felt time crunched here.
yeah.
Hated it.
Hane Connect, I think, is usually just good enough.
And it connects here.
Yeah. Because you have the clamp left over if he doesn't defend, and if he does defend, then you've already destroyed most of the center potential that was there. He gains 6 points for his troubles.
Yeah, yeah. My idea happened the way I wanted it to, but I didn't feel like it needed to. Right. I felt
I
like
think
if White
it's.
just played like something like this, right? Like White can
Mm,
just destroy this and White wins,
yeah,
right? Because White got all these points
yeah,
and I get nothing.
pretty much.
So that's
Yeah.
what. After I played it, I was like, okay, White's not gonna answer this, but he totally did, which is what I wanted. And then I got stronger in the center for it, which is this was
Right.
my goal. Um,
No.
but yeah, so I know this was really bad. um,
Mm,
so that you would think that B would be better.
yeah, in general.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think if you're just trying to reduce the area, then B is better. You don't have any risk, and it makes Q15 less of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, this I wasn't trying to reduce. My whole goal was to get
Mm,
this. I just wanted to make
mm,
this more secure. So
sure.
probably a better way would just be something like this, right?
Maybe. If you can get yours by Sente, then that's fine. But I think that you can follow the same proverb. So you invaded, and he blocks on top, and you Hane, he cuts, you Atari, he connects. Here, you're saving forcing moves.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, this M15 move is very small.
Mm.
And is losing tempo. Hane at P6 would be bigger, F2 would also be bigger. And the reason being is because you're going to fix the center shape naturally anyway. White no longer has a good point of entry after just the Atari.
Mm.
So if you like take this stone off the board and play P6, and then try to find a good way for white to get in.
Over here, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The black can't find a feasible way to reduce or stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
What about something like this, right? Because white
Okay.
black can't play here.
Well, black can't push. Sure, that's fine. But at that point, black can also like there's many other ways black can go about doing it.
Mm.
Black could tiger's mouth and cut. Black could jump cut the knight's move. Right.
Gotcha. Okay,
So that one can get cut off. You have to be careful.
gotcha. All right.
Mm-hmm. If you
Uh,
play one higher, then black can attach below it.
mm.
Right. So black doesn't really need to spend a lot of moves there at the center yet. You can take all your other good sentes in endgame first, and they're just going to be bigger in terms of size than connecting and Gote in the center of the board.
Mm.
Mm,
All
yeah.
right. So this is kind of the end game. We got into this co,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt it was a picnic co for me at this point. And I thought I was up, which I think the computer thinks too. I was up,
Even.
but not by much. Yeah, it was only like a few points. Um, and that's pretty much how the game went. I'm sure there was something plenty of sloppy things in the end game. But yeah,
White could have died in the corner.
down here on the bottom,
Yeah, when you connected at E3,
E3.
you missed something very important. E3 is already on the board. You can
This
just shift click E. E is an elephant 3.
this one.
If you shift clicked, it did not go to the stone like it needed to.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, if you shift click the stone, it should take us all the way back to when that move was played. Should be move
Right.
number 220.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, what if you play A1?
That. Doot
Okay,
doot.
Hane, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then doot doot. Okay.
Do more Chomego.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to do. Last night before I went to bed, I was doing some life and death. I need to get stronger in my life and death for sure. But wow, yeah, I didn't realize that this could have died.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Let me just see. How would you? Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I see it.
Yeah, deader than a doornail.
All right. So yeah, that was. I guess we both missed that for a while until I forced him to fix it.
Live. Hmm.
Yep. So yeah, there was definitely plenty of end game sloppiness. But throughout the whole game, we were both within like 6 points of victory. Let me just ask, what do you think the most important part of this game was, or the most important part of this lesson was, for me? And if you can think of night
Oh,
soils too, be
do
interesting.
do me a favor.
Hmm.
Can you go back to move number 241?
Sure.
As you were skimming through to the end of the game, I noticed something else.
241.
Yeah. What do you do if white plays L9?
Yeah, I saw this with the I saw this with the,
Yeah.
what do you call it, the AI. Yeah, this was painful. I was glad he didn't find it, but I'm sad that it's here anyway, right? Because it's just
Yeah.
here. So that's it. I don't know. What do you think Black's best move would be then? Because Black's gonna die here.
Not extending for sure. Probably just connecting L9. Just get rid of that point entirely and make an I.
Okay. Yeah. 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 This was pretty stressful during the game. I didn't realize how important this co actually was, and that was frustrating for me. I just thought it was a co that didn't matter. I couldn't find any other. I didn't. I personally couldn't find any other co threats that I liked, so I just ended up playing this.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think as far as takeaways, be cognizant of like shape, right?
Mm,
So like upper left corner, you didn't know the vital point, now you do.
mm-hmm,
Bottom left corner, think about being just a little bit more proactive. So instead of like soft move like G5, really think about what you're trying to do and try to find the most optimal way. Peeps, bad exchanges galore here, right?
mm-hmm,
Think about some exchange optimization. Don't peep unless you absolutely have to. Like make sure it's going to be working for you.
mm-hmm.
Mm,
All right. Yeah, can say I took away a lot from your review here. I definitely learned a lot more about this move in general. Right.
mhm,
Uh, this is just I would say is more situational, but still really good. It's clear when now that you say, hey, just cut A. Um,
mhm,
this vital point is all fine. I mean, this was always in my forefront anyway. I overextended a risk that I didn't need to, which was bad, because I was just so fixated on keeping this group cut apart. So
mhm,
instead of being fixated, I should have just allowed white to connect and then
mhm,
move on with the game.
mhm.
And although this was fine, there was something much better, right? Which is good too.
Yeah.
Um,
Something with a bit more of a hidden agenda.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, whether or not it's better, I think you would need somebody stronger than me to say that for certain. Because wouldn't feel confident saying one is necessarily better than the other. But I can say, I think in general, that if I had a preference to play one over the other, I would play O3 because it is the more active way.
Yeah, and I felt it too. Like even in my own, and I just s- uh, silly. It was silly for me not to fully read the ladder. Like once I read this was okay, I was like, oh, this is okay, and I didn't
Mhm.
read that this was okay. It's pretty silly. Um,
Right.
but yeah, so that's why I ended up choosing this. But the
Mhm.
thoughts are still there. Then stick to the fundamentals and focus on the corners first instead of the center.
Right.
And this was a new move I learned, so I took away a lot from this game just already. The peeps is good advice as well. I'll keep that in mind for now on.
Mhm.
And that is it, Raven. I
No.
appreciate your reviews always. I prefer it when you
Yep.
have control, just because when you tell me something, then I have to you like tell me where to go. So I'm more focused on where I need to go than what you're trying to say. So sometimes that's harder. So I
Sure.
do prefer when you have the control.
Sure. Next time
But
you just pass it to me.
but I do see that I think with just me guiding the game, it's more on my thoughts than yours, right? So I see where you're
Mhm.
coming from with it.
Mhm.
All
Yeah, I think it's
right.
important to get a mix. You're also more
Yeah.
likely to actually remember the key points that we stopped at because you stopped there.
Mm. Yeah, for me, just put adding the markers makes it easier because I can review it a lot easier. That's kind of
Right.
like the key for me. But
Hmm.
all right, I'm gonna end the recording here, and yeah, thanks again,
Perfect.
Raven. This is awesome.
Yeah, not a problem.